Hey everybody, Alisa Crimaldi with Crimaldi & Associates in RentSWFL, Florida, and I'm here today to give you 5 things to look out for whenever you are leasing your property on an annual basis here in Florida. So before we get started, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and press the little ringy bell thing so that way you are getting information every time that we are posting new videos to our account. All right, so let's get started. Number 1, background. So screen. Just because somebody looks nice, they sound nice, they're well presented, they have money, that does not mean that you avoid this process. Don't sidestep it, do it. You want to screen for their background. So for us, we screen for convictions, evictions. We also screen for their credit to make sure that there's no red flags in their history that you should be aware of, because sometimes a book is not what you see. So having that full view of their background is definitely very helpful, because if you get the wrong tenant in, you can evict them, but depending on what the grievances are, it's harder than others. So it can get messy. And so that's where our 20 years of experience comes into play, because we kind of know what those red flags are and we watch for them. But for those of you who are planning to do it yourself, you really want to make sure that you at least have that on paper so that you can get an idea of what you're getting yourself into. Number 2, employment. Screen for this too. So that doesn't just mean, they said, okay, here's my pay stub, or here's my direct deposits into my account. You want to call the employer, you want to verify that they are still currently employed, right? And verify that income, because, people have Photoshop. They could take somebody else's pay stub and put their name on it, right? And then boom, there you go. So you want to make sure that you actually go through the actual verification process to make sure that they can pay for it. Because again, just because they have the money to move in doesn't mean that they're going to continue to have it. Maybe they sold their house, maybe they just came into some money, but they're going to blow through it really quickly. So you want to make sure that you're aware of that. Number 3, screen the rental references. So you want to actually call them, make sure that there's no issues there. Again, you're looking for red flags. Number 4, if you are open to having pets in your unit, then be aware of the pets. So they could be like, oh yeah, I've got a middle-sized dog, it's a mixed breed, or something like that. If you see the word terrier in the name, and this doesn't mean all terriers, but like there's different terminology that means pit bull, but it's like terrier, and it's not bull terrier, I forget what it's called, but anyway, so you want to look for that, whatever those aggressive breeds are. So whatever formal name that they give you, you can backtrack that, because that could be a problem, not only with your association if they prohibit aggressive breeds, but also with your insurance. So you could get into a problem with that. So number 1, you want to Google whatever breed that they say it is. But number 2, you also want to get a picture of the actual dog for the file. And if you see those kind of similarities, then if you delve in a little bit deeper, usually you find out it is an aggressive breed. So that's just food for thought. And number 5, this is very, very important if you are managing it yourself, is to be leery of late payments. Okay. And this is where our services, I think, come in really handy, because everybody's got a story, right? And your heart goes out to these people. And, maybe for you personally, it might not be a super hardship if they're late on their rent, right? And I don't mean this to be insensitive at all, but over the last 20 years, like, we've heard every excuse in the book. And sometimes they are legitimate, and, we work with those tenants, but sometimes they are not. And it's stories, and it can just really get you into a bad situation. So at the end of the day, they have signed a contract, and it's their obligation to abide by that contract. Does that mean we don't do payment plans and things like that? If life happens to people, it just does. And so we work with tenants to try to work out fair situations that are fair to the tenant, fair to the owner if there's an issue. But if you're managing it yourself, and like for us, rent is due on the 1st and it's late after the 3rd. So on the 4th, if they have not paid their rent, then that's when we can do a 3-day notice, which is the first phase of the eviction process. That doesn't mean if you pay your rent on the 4th, we're not going to evict you. We can't evict you. Like, there's a certain process that's in place, but that just is the first formal notice that has to be provided to the tenant, right? So there's a whole process with that. Now, if you have a tenant that calls you, so you're managing it yourself, Bobby calls you and he's like, oh my God, I was just in a car wreck and I'm so sorry and I was away from the computer and I can't make the payment, or the check's lost in the mail or whatever, I can pay it on the 9th or the 10th or whatever that is. Then the 10th rolls around and they still haven't paid, and oh, my leg is still broken and I'm so busted up and whatever, then they prolong it again, right? Every time that you're doing this, then your clock is resetting from an eviction standpoint. And I'm not saying that this happens often, but when it happens, you can very quickly feel bad for people and keep giving these extensions, and then it will create an issue. You will have lost like a month or two's time to get them out of there. And what's more is if you show a history of behavior that, yes, you'll accept it late with no consequences, then that could become a problem if you do have to go to court and evict them, because yes, they have the contract, but you've acted in this way, and so you basically modified that agreement to say, hey, this behavior's okay. So be super, super careful with that. If you do get into any kind of payment plans or anything like that, make sure it's all in writing, so that you stay compliant if things get squirrely. So be very, very leery of late rent. So those are 5 of the top things to look for whenever you're getting ready to rent your property on an unfurnished basis. If you have any questions about this or just want to chat, please feel free to give us a call. Be sure to like, subscribe, press the little ringy bell. And if you're looking to buy, sell, rent, or invest in Florida, don't forget to always ask for Alisa, because I do have 3 little kids and they all need new shoes. See you next time.